down in this hold. So you, as soon as it became dark, you weren't allowed to be up on the deck. You had to go down into you, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And you're 3 high and only that far between the things.
I imagine it was
There was 1,500 of us on.
pretty rocky as well.
1,500 of us on board.
Yeah.
Couldn't smoke. In the daytime we used to get up on the deck.
Yeah.
And I got horribly seasick and thought I was going to fall over the deck. I was that sick, but anyway.
Yeah. So 2 weeks to Maratai, was it?
Well, we didn't know where we were going, and we had boat drill in case we got torpedoed. So we had lifeboats. So if the alarm went, we'd all have to dash for the particular lifeboat that we were going to get into.
Yeah.
And you could see a destroyer in the distance. That was our bodyguard virtually.
Yeah.
So we had no idea where we were going.
How were you feeling?
I'm feeling, strangely enough, I was worried about where we were going and what was going to happen. But
often the perception was that the young kids, they just
are
excited and
that's right.
keen to get there.
Yeah, well, I wasn't panicking.
Yeah.
But we didn't know where we were going. The rumours floating there, we were going to the Philippines. Anyway, after 2 weeks, I think it took us to go, and on the last day, when we went right around the other side of New Guinea to go, because they were frightening Jap subs, and you could see I don't know what I was, so you could see New Guinea. Anyway, after about 2 weeks, it took us 14 days I think, eventually we saw land, and the news spread it was Maratai, and we were going to land on Maratai. So we landed on Maratai, and the first night we had no tents or anything. I don't know, we must have slept in borrowed accommodation of other blokes that were already on the island. And toilets, you only sat over on a couple of rails over a hole. And the very first night there was an air raid, or an air raid alarm, and I can't remember seeing any bombs dropped, but there was, I didn't have a clue what to do, and I had this warrant officer with me that had been to the Middle East. He said, "Don't panic," and he said, "Just get down." And after a while the siren went and was the all clear. So the next day we got our own tents we'd taken off the boat, and we moved to an area, Michael's got the photo actually of our tent looking out to sea. We were camped within about 50 metres of the sea, and this warrant officer that had been to the Middle East, he had the know-how about everything, and he said, "Well, if we're going to be up here for a while," he said, "we might as well make ourselves as comfortable as we can." So he scrounged some 44-gallon drums. I don't know where the hell he got them, but they would have been empty fuel drums.
Yeah.
So, and where he got the timber, I don't know. But we built a platform, or he did most of it. We erected our tent. You'll see photos of it there.
Yeah.
Up on top of these 44-gallon drums. So there's only 4 of us in the tent. There was 6, privates in tents, but we only had 4 in ours. The warrant officer and 3 sergeants. So then we found out there was the Americans probably had built it, a dining hall. It was just fly wide in, and the sergeants and officers had a small room at one end, and the other ranks had a long room at the other end. So that's where we ate bully beef, and that's about, I can't remember ever seeing any fresh meat. It was just bully beef or whatever they got out of tins for all the time we were there. I can't even remember seeing any bread, but maybe we did get some, I can't remember that. So, without all the rigmarole, oh yeah, one of the sergeants in my tent, Vin Sharp, the father of this bloke that made all the inquiry, put that photo in the paper. He said, he said, I've got a friend, a nurse down at the hospital. He said, I don't know how she communicated with him. He said, she's invited me down to tea. He said, would you like to come with me? Oh, I said, oh yeah. So we had to walk a couple of miles down the road to the hospital, and we marched up to the female dining hall, the nurse's dining room, and he gave the message to the guard that we'd been invited for tea. So out came his friend, and she had a friend with her, and the four of us sat down and had a delightful meal. We went to mass in a tent just across next door almost.
Yep.
They were both Catholics, and he was married, by the way, and I don't know whether his wife ever knew about this, but I wasn't, and so the girl and I enjoyed watching the pictures. We were laying on the beach, and they were showing the pictures here, but if you laid on the beach, you could see them on the other side too.
Yeah.
So we did that. We got a few boys when we went into the dining room. I became quite friendly with the girl actually.
Yeah.
And anyway, I visited her quite a lot while we were on Maratai. Eventually, I don't know whether she got sick of me or I got sick of going. We had to walk an awful long way down to see her, so I gave up.
Yeah.
So we used to go to mass every night.
How often did they show the pictures?
Probably only once or twice a week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same movie?
What is it, Craig?
The same thing playing over, was it? Or?
No, they used to get, I don't know how the hell they got them, but they used to get different movies. We had Gracie Fields, she was a great singer. Have you ever heard of her?
Not a clue, no.
Gracie, she was a worldwide, world-noted singer.
Yeah.
And she sang for us one night at one of the concerts.
Yeah.
So life went on like that, and I had my own little office. It's just made of tarpaulin round the corner.
Yeah, I did see one photo of you in that.
Yeah,
and
you'll see a photo of me.
You're writing a letter, so or writing something.
Yeah.
What would you been writing about most of the time?
I think I used to do the pay, and also record of the equipment that they had. Everybody had what they call, you'll see my copy there, an AB 83, Army Book 83.
Yeah, I did see that.
With the list of equipment. Well, I used to update those.
Yeah.
You know, when I took the rifles, handed the rifles back, I would have put a red line through and signed them off. So those sort of things I did.
Mm-hmm.
So life went on until, I used to get different jobs like orderly room sergeant, mess sergeant, you know, making sure they all behaved while they were going in to have their dinner or their tea.
Yeah.
What about the time you had to take the prisoner or something?
Oh yeah, one bloke, the lieutenant got, you've got a good memory, Brian. There was one bloke there that he was a bit rough and ready, and the lieutenant, I got all the dirty jobs, I've got to tell you.
Yeah.
He said, look, I've arranged for the captain down in charge of the wharf. He said, for Joe Blow to be transferred down there, he said, you escort him down. So I got a driver in this bloke, he was quite alright with me. I just said, you're getting transferred, he said, so we drove down to the wharf and unloaded him, and I went in to see the captain and told him I brought the bloke down and he just wasn't suited to our style of business, you know, mapping and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no no nonsense. The bloke was grumbling a bit about getting so sad, you know, and I had to sort of make up a story about he was sort of be more suited to the work on the wharves.
Yeah.
So, I just went back to camp. And then must have been getting, well, life was fairly normal then. And just before we came home, most of them had pulled down their tents and folded them up, ready to, I don't know whether they brought them home or what. And we had to find sleeping wherever we could find a bed. So we just slept where we used to work.
Yeah.
Under these sisolation. You know the sisal craft they put around the houses when they're building them? Sisolation, they call it. Well, that's what we used to have, sisolation around that kept the weather out. So we just slept in there until we got the word to come home. And we pulled down all the tents, and unfortunately it wasn't our unit, but it was a bloke from our unit that he was making what they call a lackatoy. It was a little boat to go out fishing, and he was a cook, and he must have had his army boat cleaver with him, and he had another bloke with him, and the blokes had all pulled their tents down, and he went to cut some wire to fix up his lackatoy, and it was a damn electrical wire, and he electrocuted himself. Died on the spot. 3 days before we came home.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So I didn't go. Our other blokes in our unit had to bury him, and I should have gone with them, and I didn't. I regret now. The corporal that went with him, he asked me, wasn't I coming? I said, oh, I don't think so. He said, I thought you might come and say a prayer, and I regret now that I didn't. So anyway, well, I feel terrible about that. So anyway, just a few days, we didn't know when we were coming home, but Christmas had gone, and we had midnight mass, and the priest gave us a little holy picture, memento of midnight mass on Morotai, and it's in there amongst those things. So that was good, and then about one night later, I got violently ill, and I was racing to the toilet. Was a mile away, and I got down behind a tree, and I was coming out both ends. I was bilious and passing diarrhoea at the same time. And the lieutenant heard me, and he said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I'm damned if I know, but I'm damned crook." So he put me in the jeep, and he took me up to the hospital, which was a couple of miles away. And I don't think the doctor was very happy getting woken up. And he told him what was wrong, and so they shoved me in hospital. And he put digits up their tail to see if he could see what was wrong. And what's that disease you get when you're bilious and diarrhoea at the same time? Gastroenteritis. So I got shoved in the hospital, and there was an Indian in the bed next to me that had been a prisoner of war of the Japs. Poor fellow, he was as skinny as my finger. And not many others in where I was, because it was probably isolation ward, I think.
Yeah.
So I was in there for a couple of days, and one of the blokes, he wasn't my best friend either, but one of the blokes from my unit came down. He would have had to walk 2 miles, and he wasn't allowed in to me, but he looked through the netting. He said, "We've got our marching orders to go home." He said, "We're boarding the ship on whatever day it was, Saturday, only 2 or 3 days away."
Yeah.
I said, holy mackerel. So I said, "I've got to get out of here quick." So I don't know how I conned into letting me out, but I got out quick within a couple of days. And then we boarded the Georgetown Victory. It was an American troop ship. And we had the same procedure, up the ladder
Yeah.
to the boat.
Do you have your stripes on this time?
Privates to the left, sergeants to the above, the right. I sure had my stripes on this time.
Yeah.
So I went to the right, and I've got a cabin.
Good.
And all the other blokes down the aisle. So it took us 2 weeks to go up there, only a week to come home on the Georgetown Victory.
Okay.
Yeah. And we landed at Brisbane.
Yep.
And we spent 2 nights there. And our unit got dispersed. There was only one bloke and I got shunted off to one camp. And I think there's only the 2 of us in the tent. And the next night we got, I met my brother. How in the hell I ever met him, I don't know. But I haven't got the slightest idea how I was able to find him. But he was stationed in Brisbane.
Yeah.
So he took me to the sergeant's bar. We had a couple of drinks, and then we rang up my mother and father and to tell them I was back in Australia. And I didn't know when I'd get back to home. So the other bloke and I, we went down to the Brisbane Town Hall and did a bit of a dance in our army boots. You weren't supposed to dance in the Brisbane Town Hall with army boots, but we did.
Yeah.
And the next night we got shoved into another camp, and I'd brought my mosquito net home with me. All the others had thrown them into the sea. And the mosquitoes were something damn awful. And I also had my stretcher. So I got into bed, happy as Larry, and my mate, he'd tossed into the sea. Oh, he said, let me in with you. He said, I can't stand these damn mosquitoes. So he got in with me, and we spent the night there, and next day we were on the train back to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Got to Royal Park, and I can't remember what happened to the bloke that was with me. He got shuttered off. We got 2 weeks leave, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I went home to Rochester, and at Rochester, on the way home, on the train, oh no, I went to Bendigo first, to the girlfriend's place, much to my mother's disgust.
Yeah.
And I dropped off the sword. I told my mum I had a sword.
Yeah.
Don't be bringing a sword here amongst the children. So I left it there, and a few other things that I brought, and went home the next day. And on the way home, I met a lieutenant who was going home to Rochester too. So we sat. He was older than me, but I knew who he was.
Yeah.
So he didn't know me. So we had a bit of a chat on the way home. So we got into the Rochester station, and he and I got off the train, and I was in jungle green still, and he was in his stash captain's or lieutenant's uniform. And there was a huge crowd waiting at the exit gate. They were there to welcome him home.
Yeah.
And I said, you've got a welcoming party. So he marched us over, and I wasn't going through the welcoming party, so I just hung back a little bit. So he got great cheers and pats on the back, and he went through the welcoming party. So I sauntered up along the platform and got off the platform at the end of the platform and walked home on my own. And Dad was out working on the farm, and Mum and the rest of the kids were at home. So I had 2 weeks leave. I used to go out to the farm with Dad. Then I had to report back to where I first arrived at Royal Park. And the bloke said, when I first got back I teed up with this captain that I had left before to see if he had a job for me. And he said, yeah, I'll give you a job. So now when I went back to Royal Park, the bloke said, right up, he said, You were to go to such and such a unit up in Townsville. I said, Captain Rossiter had told me he had a place for me out at Albert Park. Oh, did he? I said, yeah. So he, somehow or other he contacted Captain Rossiter. Yeah, Captain Rossiter said, I've got a spot for him. So instead of going up to Townsville, I went out to Royal Park, Albert Park.
Yeah.
Where they were camped in an old garage. And I was just in the process of moving from the old garage in Beaconsfield Parade, right opposite the beach. They were moving to a punt road drill hole in in Paran. So when I moved there, and I slept on my own in the drill hole. All the other blokes lived in Melbourne, and I was in charge of keeping a record of all the valuable equipment that was getting returned to them from units all over Australia. Yeah. And I had an auditor by the name of Fred Kerlin. He was a sergeant auditor, and he used to come and he knew stacks and stacks of friends that I had that went to Kilmore with me, and we became pretty firm friends. Anyway, I stayed there for, I signed on for an extra 6 months when when you came for discharge. They used to, you got several, they awarded you points. How long you'd served, where you'd served, and what age you were.
I think I saw that. It was 13 months overseas.
That's right.
And 35 other months.
Did you see that, did you?
Yeah.
Ah, good on you. That's right, Craig.
Yeah.
So I signed on for an extra 6 months.
Yeah.
So during that 6 months, I got friendly with Kevin Doyle, who used to live in Rochester, and he lived in Punt Road, South Yarra, and he just up the road from where the drill hall was, and he used to come down to the drill hall and keep me company at nights, and we used to go into the drill hall next door and have a few beers with the bloke, the sergeant in charge of there. Yeah. And anyway, when it was coming time to get discharged, Kevin said, where are you going to live? I said, I've got to find somewhere. He said, I know a lady down in South Yarra that takes a lot of the YCW boys. She runs a boarding house. He said she might be able to fit in. I said, well, I'd be grateful if you could check up for me. So he came back the next night. He said, I've got a bed for you. So I got discharged. And then I had a couple more weeks at home before I went to work. And then I came down and I met my friend Kevin, and he took me up to Cliff Street. And as I was walking in the door to Cliff Street, this young girl was walking out of Cliff Street, going back to nurse at Warrnambool. So we just exchanged greetings. And I got a bed in there. It was a room smaller than Mark's, much smaller than Mark's, and I had to share it with the senior boarder. He had his wardrobe locked with a chain, and I don't know whether I even had a wardrobe. Anyway, that's where I shacked up. Yep. So I got involved in everything in South Yarra.
About telling her the nurse was.
Yeah, did you meet the nurse again?
The nurse was Mary.
Yeah.
Probably you, Catherine, but.
Yeah, so she came back there. Obviously.
So I became very popular. I'm not scolding about this, but in the CYMS I became president of the social club that used to run the dances on Saturday nights, and got involved in the CYMS, football and cricket, and I published their magazine. You'll probably find copies of the magazine with my name on it in some of those files. So I became fairly well known in a very short space of time, and fairly popular with the blokes that I lived with. And I used to go to these dances on Saturday night, And then you know the story about my old girlfriend, diced me. So not long after she diced me, or about the same time, Mary decided to quit the nursing. Whether it's because I got diced or not, I don't know. Anyway, she came home. She used to take a bit of a special interest in tidying up my room and throwing out my girlfriend's pictures. Anyway, one night I went round to the dances, and I don't know who I was dancing with, but Mary was at the dance. Next morning, her cousin, who was also a boarder, he said to me, "Oh," he said, "you rotten blighter." Oh, I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." I said, "What have I done?" "Ah, what have you bloody done?" He said, "You didn't dance with Mary." Oh, I said, "No," I said, "I didn't." He said, "You bloody silly." He said, "Can't you see she's nuts about you?" Oh, I said, "Oh, well, I don't know that I had." Oh, he said, "Take a bloody, wake up to yourself." So anyway, I obviously took notice of her after that.
Yeah.
Because she became your wife.
Yes. Well, that's good.
So, yeah, that's about all you want to know, isn't it?
Nah, that's some good stuff. I've got a couple others.
Right.
Were you on the island when when it was announced that the war was over?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at the Pictures.
Yeah.
Open air theatre, and I think they had a barbed wire fence around it. I don't know why. But we're all at the Pictures, and all of a sudden there's bloody shooting and explosions, and the Japs have landed. The Japs have landed. So we all ran back to our tents to grab our rifles. And after a few minutes, "Oh, the war's over! The war's over!" The Yanks had gone mad. They were driving their trucks up and down the road, shooting off and blowing the horns, and the war was over.
Yeah.
What a relief. So then, of course, we had to sit down.
Was that a big party that night or anything?
No, you couldn't have a party up there.
Could you get alcohol up there?
Yeah, they got a bottle per week.
Yeah.
And also a ration of cigarettes or tobacco. Tobacco, I think it was. So I used to swap my bottle of beer with another bloke for his tobacco.
Yeah.
Because I didn't drink. And well, one night I forgot to tell you that how this was organised, I don't know, but the officers and sergeants, they invited the nurses down for a dance, and they had to have it in the sergeant's dining room because it was only a dirt floor. So they came down in a truck, about 20 of them, including the girl that I sort of got friendly with. She came. Oh, we had a real good night. They weren't allowed to go outside. We all had to stop inside the hut. But I took her outside when we used to go to the hospital. We used to lay on the beach with her. So after that,
a few months was it before you left, or how long after the end of the war?
Well, that was in August.
Yeah.
And then Blamey, he was on the island. He was the general. He was the commander-in-chief, and they rounded up the Japs. And I'll tell you a few other stories. So they had the surrender document, surrender on Morotai. I must have seen it, but I can't remember seeing it. And they printed some of the slips, souvenir of Japs. You'll see them in there. Souvenir of surrender on Morotai, such and such a day. And that's when we got the swords, when they rounded up the Japs and they had to chuck their swords in. Now another little episode, it had nothing to do with me serving on Morotai. At some time during the last year of the war, they arrested a Jap hospital ship off the coast of Perth. and
I did read about that.
there's a whole story in the files there about it.
Pretending they were hospitalised.
They're all dressed up in sickies.
Yeah.
And they're all able-bodied soldiers. And fortunately, they separated the officers from the soldiers, and they took the boat up to Morotai and unloaded the soldiers off Morotai, and you'll see a photo in there of them around barbed wire around them. There were about 1,000 of them, I think. Yeah.
So they stayed there for very long?
No, they got rid of them pretty quick. The Americans took them to the Philippines. There's a whole story about that there. Bloke wrote into the paper, and I sent him a photo which I thought might have been the hospital ship, but it was actually our hospital ship.
Okay, yeah.
So
no, I did see that.
I've seen the photo. So they're all dressed in white.
Yeah.
So they shipped them off to the Philippines.
Yeah. My story that I liked when you told me, the one where when there was that air raid and your torch.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Well, this is when we were in the sergeant's tent, and I had one of those little torches that you fit on the front of the bikes you used to have. You've probably never seen them. We had no light other than that. So if I wanted to go to the toilet at night, I used to use this. So it's a damn air raid. So everybody jumps out of bed quick and lively, and so did I. And as I did, I must have knocked my damn torch. The damn light came, all around the camp goes, bloody still you bastard, yeah. Hello there, bloody Lord. How embarrassing. And I put it under me coat and everything, tried to cover the light, and eventually I got it out. I think I might have had to break it to stop it. Very embarrassing. Anyway, after about a quarter of an hour, the siren went again, and if there was an air raid, it had passed. There were,
how often were the air raids?
they went.
Obviously.
We never got any bombs dropped on us.
How often did the siren go off?
I think I only heard it twice, actually.
Okay.
But I know down near the hospital, so a couple of miles away, they dropped bombs there. Now, the Americans had kicked the Japs off the island before we got there.
Yeah. And they never returned since that time that you were there?
Well, some of them. The island where we were, there was a very rough end of the island, and they reckon any Japs that were there went down that end, and the Americans didn't even bother about them. They were going to starve them out, and I think they probably did. Now, I was going to tell you something. Yes. Before we came home, we had huge quantities of maps that had been printed, you know, to be sent to all the troops all over the Southwest Pacific, and we built up quite a stock. So we had to get rid of them. We weren't going to bring them home. I think they probably brought a couple of each. I think they had to preserve, and I had a copy of Morotai, which I think might have got burnt in Bernadette's fire. I think Josh might have had it. Anyway, we had to get rid of them. So there was a huge crater just near our office area. So that had been bombed when probably the Americans were bombing the Japs when they were in control of the island. So they diced all the maps into this crater, and then they set fire to them. And I was in my office, just right beside this, and there was a mighty explosion. There was obviously a bomb that had been dropped and was still alive in the bottom of the crater, and it blew the maps sky high. And
been live the whole time.
And all the big bosses from everywhere came running over. Who was responsible for this? You know, the colonel was, I don't know who owned up to it, but nobody was injured anyway, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But it obviously had been alive there, and we'd been working all around it, so we were pretty lucky.
Yeah, and that obviously, I've got to ask about how you got the samurai sword.
Yeah, well, I told you, didn't I?
You did
after
tell me
the surrender,
yeah, they all threw their swords in.
they must have taken all the swords off the Japs. They must have had an awful lot, because our small unit got allocated two. And so the lieutenant said, well, the best way to decide who gets the two, put all the names in the hat, and the first two out get, the first two out get the swords. So I was the second out and got the sword.
Mm.
Yeah. There you are, Craig.
Very good.
Yeah.
Just
life in a nutshell.
That's it. And I just got to get right, because I think I missed it. You started as private, yep.
Yeah.
What's the next one after that?
Lance Corporal.
And then?
Actually, between private and Lance Corporal, they had what they call a trade grouping.
A what?
Trade, T-R-A-D-E.
Yeah.
Trade grouping. That if you're a carpenter, or a plumber,
yeah,
or a clerical assistant with some qualification, they graded you. So I was trade group 3 because of my clerical experience with the motor registration.
Yeah.
And I passed the public service exam. And then I became a Lance Corporal.
Yeah.
Corporal.
Yeah.
Lance Sergeant.
Yeah.
And I became a full, I forgot to tell you how I became a full sergeant. There was one sergeant on Morotai in my tent, and he got a letter from friends in Perth that his wife was playing around with the Yanks, and the army decided to send him home. And he got sent home, and I got the full sergeant.
Was that when you're on Morotai?
Yeah.
So you were sergeant.
He was in my
Morotai.
tent.
Yeah. So you're pretty high up there.
On your tent.
No, high up in the rankings.
Sergeant, you know.
No.
Well, I wasn't very old. So
Tell him the ranks above it then.
Huh?
Tell him the ranks above it.
Yeah, well, above the sergeant,
Yeah.
there's warrant officer, and there might have been the warrant officer first class and second class, lieutenant, captain, major, colonel. But sergeants were the first group to be sort of recognised.
Yeah.
You've got a bit of...
Got you the right side of the
you've
boat.
got a few rights, and yes. Like you've got the sergeant's mess.
Yeah.
And, you know, coming home, I've got a cabin, you know.
Yeah.
So you've got a bit of kudos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
But I consider myself very lucky to have gone through that, but I must have shown some initiative.
Yeah.
I suppose. Must have. I was the Lance Corporal. I hadn't been in the army a year, I don't think. And there are plenty of others there that he hadn't made a Lance Corporal, so...
Yeah. Well, thanks, Grandad, for that. That'll be good.
That's my life history. So.
Yeah. Cheers.